What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Stella Herself podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, don't forget to take a screenshot, post it on your IG story, tag me, tweet me, all of that. I love seeing who's listening, and I love your guys' aesthetics. Like, y'all really come through. And recently, people have been like sending or posting pics and tagging me of like their 3 beverages, and I just love that. If you have multiple beverages right now, post a pic on your story and tag me, and I'll repost. I love a beverage. Recently, my thing has been waking up every day and just, having the purpose and goal and the drive of my life be how much can I post on my IG story in one day. Like, it's gotten to the point where it's like dots every day. I'm just like, well, maybe not every day, but like a lot of days. And then I was looking at my archive, and some days in the past, I only post like 3 things on my story. But now I'm just like, let me post as much as possible. And it's just so much fun. It's like, let's get some discourse going. Let's have some tea. Like, it's just been really fun. So thank you to everyone who's been watching, participating. Yeah. I had such a cute weekend, y'all. I don't know. I don't really like go out back to back to back, but it was a friend's birthday, and then I wanted to catch up with these friends, and like, everyone was just such good vibes, and I just had such a good time. And it's not like it was outstanding, like, oh my God, once in a lifetime. But, it's just like when people are good vibes and you're just like, you feel good after hanging out with someone. It was like that, but all 3 days. And I'm like exhausted today. I don't think I slept more than, I don't know, last night I think I got like 4 hours of sleep. The night before was definitely like a 3 hour, and then maybe before that it was like 4 hours, but then I was able to go back to sleep for a little. So it's just like, who am I? Like, I feel very just like I'm dying kind of, but it's like it was right there. Just like the sleep, like I need my sleep, bro. Probably gonna take a little nap after this. Sleep is so important, dude, and like rest is so important. And like I be thinking like, okay, well, I'm doing my skincare routine, but because it's so hard for me to sleep in, like I'm only gonna have my nighttime skin routine effective for like these 4 hours that I'm asleep, and not the 8 hours or more. It's like, bro, this is pointless. Hopefully get some good sleep tonight. This month is almost over. I'm like, literally, what the fuck is happening? Like, what? Tell me. Let me know now. Yeah. Just like, oh, time. Like, what? The year is almost over. Like, what? There's a full moon tomorrow, Friday. Full moon eclipse in Taurus. So y'all know full moon. A full moon is when the tea comes out, the realizations come out. And especially this full moon, because it's also an eclipse, it's like a super charged up one. So you can like, you may be feeling a little emotional. There may be some sudden things that you realize. I was watching an Alina Alive video about it. Love her videos. I've been watching them for the past few weeks. And her voice is just so soothing, and like, I think I said it in, I don't know if it was the last podcast or like a few podcasts ago, but she's like super into astrology without being too like mystical. Like, I don't know, I hate the vibe when people are like just overly, I don't know, it just comes across as like inauthentic to me. Like, I just get the best vibes from her. She's so authentic. Her videos are just really good and like to the point, and she just seemes cool. Period. Me leaving a Yelp review of her. But yeah, you guys should definitely watch her if you're into like astrology, and especially with keeping up with like, the events of like a full moon, a new moon, a retrograde. I feel like I don't really have a consistent, besides like Astrodienst, but there's not really a consistent website that I go to where I can find like everything I want to see at once. I don't know. It probably could be really easy to find one, but I have really liked her videos for like that fact of just all the information in one. She has like cute prompts at the end, so I wanted to talk about some of those. But she really talked about the importance of grounding yourself for this full moon. And Taurus is an earth sign, so very grounding. But just because full moons can be kind of chaotic, and I think this one especially because of like the transits. Moon squared with Jupiter. Yeah, I think the moon, yeah. A moon squared with Jupiter can make you feel full of hope and enthusiasm, but excessive emotional reactions and impulses can also bring inattention, irresponsibility, and exaggeration in everything. So, mood swings. Yeah. The astrology, this is from techdeeps.com. See, it's just like I'd be looking up random websites. The astrology of the lunar eclipse in November 2021 encourages you to grow materially and spiritually, but moderation and a responsible attitude are needed. So, grounding yourself grounding yourself during these potentially chaotic emotional times. So her journal prompts, a couple of them were, is there anything you're being called to release? And she was kind of talking about shadow work and basically the concept of like, or just the fact when, we kind of avoid dealing with something emotional because it feels painful. So while we may think, we're self-preserving or like saving ourselves from more pain, it's actually like causing more pain to not deal with it. So just like releasing that, processing emotions, like things like that. And also because Scorpios can really hold grudges. They're kind of known for that. So it's like bringing it to the surface and letting it go. What activities leave you feeling grounded during more chaotic times? For me, definitely like a yoga meditation duo. Also working out, specifically like an inclined treadmill walk. Just like a walk in general, especially being outside. But, where I live, it's like sometimes outside can honestly make me feel less grounded because it's just very chaotic out there of all people in the city. Like a walk in nature, okay? But yeah, just even like a treadmill walk, really putting myself back in my body. And it's actually fun. I swear one of the best remedies for a hangover is, and it obviously depends on the type of hangover, but just like doing a treadmill walk because you're sweating, drinking water, and I just feel like it like puts me back in my body. Because I don't know, I kind of feel it right now, but when you're hungover and like your body, it's like the lack of sleep too, but my body will almost feel like, I want to say fuzzy. I don't know if that would be the exact description, but like I haven't worked out today or done anything yet. I'm going to do it later. If I were to, I swear I would feel so much better. Just like back in my body. Yoga, meditation, deep breathing. Yeah. And like the counted breaths. Also, I really like taking baths. That feels really good. Just laying in the sun, to be honest. But that's not really like always possible, especially these days, which we're going to get into that as well. Seasonal depression. Love that. So yeah, what leaves you feeling grounded? Any deeper emotional or spiritual work you've avoided because, self-preservation, but maybe it's time to bring it up. And then she was really talking about meditation, and she said something that I just really related to. She said she does 20-minute meditations, and, especially to beginners and whatnot, that can seem very long. But she said, after the first 10 minutes, it's like her brain makes that switch to like the true tranquility stage. And I really relate to that because, there's like meditation, especially if you're just starting out, like meditation as a concept to begin with, but also like physically, like I'm sitting down to meditate. It's always like, it feels hard at first because it's like, you have to keep reminding yourself like, no, back to my breath or like whatever. But then once you reach that place where you're truly like in the moment and just like you're literally brain, no thoughts, that's like the best, like amazing. So I was like, maybe I should start practicing like 20 minutes. During quarantine, when I was doing a lot of yoga with Adrian, I would always do a meditation after. And it really is like a practice because obviously like sometimes are just going to be harder than others, and we go through things like sometimes our minds are just going to be busier than other times, like regardless of necessarily how long you've been practicing meditation, especially someone like me. It's not like I'm like meditating 8 hours a day. It's like my life. She's like, oh, yeah, it's like an accessory. But it really does get, I guess, like easier the more you do it. And then she really emphasized consistency with that. And the more often you do it, then you really see those long-term results. And it's really true. Like, you just feel so much more calm throughout your day. And like, yeah, I tried to do something this morning. It was kind of hard because I'm hungover, but I feel like it did help. I just really need like a nap. So yeah, let me know, do you practice meditation regularly? I feel like over the past couple weeks I have been doing it more consistently, but I really want to get back to like what I was doing before because it helps so much. I need to go back to acupuncture too, honestly. Kind of like scared. Sometimes I would get anxiety in there, but it's like worth it, but I'm scared. So those are just kind of like the full moon vibes. Yeah. It's a beaver moon also. Because she said, I learned a lot from this video. She said like the full moon in November is always a beaver moon because this is around the time in nature when beavers start to make their shelters for winter. So, it's a good time to think about building your own type of shelter in the sense of like grounding activities and things that can kind of help you feel safe and like calm and like coming back to yourself, like coming home to yourself, especially during these times of like the holidays and like busy seasons and things like that. So I thought that was interesting and just like so true. Seasonal depression, let's talk about it. It's kind of weird because I live in Southern California now, so I honestly, not to flex, but I really feel so far removed like from that because y'all know I grew up in Washington State and those winters, like, I don't know if I could do that now, bro. I don't know. It's just, especially like back then, getting up for school when it's like pouring rain, just so dark for days and days on end. Like, how would I do it? I literally don't know. So I definitely feel you. I feel for anyone who's maybe going through that. And especially since in the States, we had daylight savings. What was that, last week? So it's definitely been, those days of getting dark at 4:30 again. And I'm sure, we all know the tips and tricks for a seasonal depression, like taking a vitamin D supplement. There's those lights that you can get, the depression lights that like, simulate. Does it like create vitamin D? I don't know, but I've seen a lot of them on TikTok. But yeah, so I guess I just wanted to kind of like open this up so we could like help each other, but what helps you, I guess, get through. And I mean, even though I'm not in the same climate as like the Washington days of being dark and rainy all the time, it still is, getting dark way earlier and like the days are definitely shorter. So yeah, it's not like, oh, just because you live somewhere where it's more sunny doesn't mean it can't affect you. So like, disclaimer, I don't want to like, yeah. So I think things like, trying to adapt more to like a morning routine. So sorry if you're not a morning person, but just getting those extra hours of daylight in, and just kind of like embracing it as much as you can, I guess, like just adjusting your schedule. So, going to sleep earlier, waking up earlier, really getting into like cozy times. I've seen people talk about eating root vegetables and like drinking tea and being outside as much as possible. I know it's so hard when it is like raining and just like gross weather outside, but even just like a walk if possible, getting out of the house, being in nature, I feel. And actually in the Alina live video, she said, again, great video, like so many little tidbits. But she said something like, when we're inside all day, we are organisms. And so often we're just always surrounded by like man-made things. Like if you're in the house all day, you're like just surrounded by man-made things. But we're organisms, we need to be like outside with other organisms. Like, I don't necessarily want to say like how we're supposed to be, but it's like I feel like that's such a huge reason why so many of us feel like better after being in nature. So that's definitely something I would do a lot back home too. And when I go back home for the holidays, in the darker winter months, we definitely are still like hiking, taking walks, walking the dog. And it does definitely help, dude, especially like if you work from home, it's definitely not natural to just be like sitting inside staring at a screen all day and then you're like watching TV and go to bed. Like, and it's like, that's just kind of the reality that a lot of us live in, but taking breaks, going outside, getting fresh air if possible, just really helps. And I think also like kind of like in the quarantine days, switching up your routine, like I've seen a couple people talk about going to work at coffee shops instead, if you do work from home and you're able to do that. Like trying some new winter recipes, paying attention to like which fruits and vegetables are in season, decorating for Christmas, making your home cute with like lights and just like things like that, just because it really is the little things. And also I think it's really interesting, like I was thinking about this earlier and it just kind of brought me down this like hole of like, one thing leads to another. But I guess I was kind of thinking about, first I was thinking about how it's like we kind of hear the same self-help things all the time, and it's like, okay, we get it. Like, it's like, oh, take a walk, journal, meditate, take a bath, drink a tea. And it's like, okay, yeah. But it's like it helps our body, like our mind. It's obviously going to help our mind too, but I feel like so often it's like, okay, what is a walk? Like I'll think to myself, oh, I should go take a walk. But then my brain's like, what is that really going to do? Like, are you serious? But then I take the walk and I just feel so much better. Like my body feels better. Therefore, my mind feels better. So that kind of reminded me of like, I don't know, I guess you could say like trauma responses, and just kind of that whole concept of like your body, like mind, body, it's like very connected, but just like how you can know something logically, but it's like your body, it's like you almost have to treat your body like a little kid, or like, I don't know. It's like, does that make sense? I don't know. I'm trying to think of like how I can really phrase this the way I want, but it's like your body be knowing, but it's also like sometimes you have to do things even though it's like it seems dumb, because you will feel better. Taking a walk, journaling. It's like, okay, bitch, is a 10-minute meditation really gonna change how I feel? Yes. Yes. So I hope that's like making sense how I want it to. But take your vitamin D supplements if you need to, and leave a comment down below with like, how do you deal with these shorter days, less daylight, maybe it's like really disgusting weather where you are. Let a bitch know. Staying active, eating healthy, staying connected, getting outside. It seems like very basic advice, but like it do be helping. Tea. So I put on my story, what's the tea? And so people were just, submitting their teas. Some were a little more serious than others. Some people just had like a bullshit, haha, which was kind of the intention. But then I think people saw that like I was posting a lot of serious ones too. So then a lot of people started like posting like serious stuff. And it was kind of like, oh my God, wait, at one point last night I was like at the bar, like, and some of these questions were like deep, and I'm like, oh my God, wait. But this one girl posted or submitted something that was like, let me actually find the specific wording. So this girl said, my long distance boyfriend only texts me 2 to 3 times a day, no calls, yet says he's in love, just really busy. And people had a lot of opinions about that. And it was interesting because people like, some of these opinions were conflicting. So I think it's interesting that like, we can have these different opinions. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this, but I just kind of wanted to read some of these, and yeah. So the first girl said, yes, this isn't right. I see my man pretty much every day and he still texts me all throughout the day. It's very natural when you love someone and think about them all the time. And then someone else said, I get it, but also it's good to have space. If they never talk on the phone, that's definitely weird. But like texting throughout the day can be exhausting. I think FaceTiming a few times a week is more meaningful and interactive rather than just texting. I do think it really depends on the people and the communication styles, which I would say I agree with that. And then she said, also, I don't know that the idea that you have to be in constant communication or think about your partner all the time is super healthy. You got to live your life, and how can you do that with the pressure of being in constant contact with someone? Then someone else said, yeah, I think this dude wants to keep the girl on the back burner because he knows she'll put up with it. She needs to move on. It's different for everyone. Some people are okay with less communication, specifically texts and calls, especially if you see each other every day or live together. But if that's not something you're okay with, then accepting it will not make it any easier on you and will cause you anxiety or to feel abandoned. Trust me, been there. You have to ask for what you want, and if they can't or don't want to give it, then it's time to move on. Facts. Smart ass bitch. This other girl said it has to do with communication styles. Texting all throughout the day is clingy and dependent. Not that it's bad, but it shouldn't be a standard. So we have a lot of opinions, which is amazing. And I feel like it definitely depends on the people, but therefore this girl, obviously it's an issue for her and she's bothered by the fact that they don't talk more, you know? So obviously that's something she wants. So my advice to like this specific girl would be to communicate that. And let's pull out the Bible, y'all. The book attached. There was, okay, so I'm just going to read this because it's really important and we all need to hear. The 5 principles of effective communication. Wear your heart on your sleeve. Be emotionally brave. Focus on your needs. The idea is to get your needs across. When expressing your needs, it's helpful to use verbs such as need, feel, and want, which focus on what you're trying to accomplish and not on your partner's shortcomings. So like I would feel a lot more at ease or appreciated, and I want you to text me more throughout the day, or like it would make me feel really good if we could like talk on the phone more. Be specific. When you don't check up on me every day, ... it makes me feel like that. Don't blame. Effective communication is not about highlighting the other person's shortcomings. Make sure to find a time when you're calm. Be assertive and non-apologetic. Your relationship needs are valid. So even though there's all these different opinions of like, oh, how much should we text throughout the day? It's like none of that really matters because this girl feels like it shouldn't matter for us as individuals because it's like about how we feel. Because someone else could not care. Like, oh, that one girl felt like texting throughout the day is like clingy. But like if I don't feel that way, then I'm not going to listen to that because it's like my experience and my reality is like I feel like I want to text more. So I don't think there's like I guess that's to say I don't think there should be like rules or like, oh, this is how it should be, because your relationship needs are valid. So it's like if that girl, the original girl, like, oh, I think it's weird me and my boyfriend don't text. It's like if she were to see, oh, yeah, the rules is texting is clingy and like this, that wouldn't really be validating like her emotions and experience. So it's important. This is like the really key thing. And what my advice to the girl would be, it's important to remember that even with effective communication, some problems won't be solved immediately. What's vital is your partner's response, whether he or she is concerned about your well-being, has your best interest in mind, and is willing to work on things. So if it were me, I would use those first tips of like, using verbs like want and feel, need. When you don't check up on me throughout the day, I feel however you feel. I would really love it if, we talked more throughout the day. Or if we FaceTime more or whatever. And then see how they respond. And that's where you kind of have to be emotionally brave, because if you're just like stuffing stuff away and like not talking about it, like, oh, I don't want to come across as like clingy or like whatever. It's like you're really not doing yourself any justice. You're not standing up for your own needs, and I don't know, it's like you never really, if you do that, you don't give your partner the opportunity to like, I don't know, be there for you, I guess, or like make you happy. So, wait, what was I literally gonna say? Oh, I feel like so often, especially in dating and like early stages of dating and whatnot, it's like we can sometimes have this expectation that everything is supposed to like just, oh, we're supposed to click immediately, and like he just knows everything that I want, and he can like not like literally, oh, he can read my mind, but it's like obviously you can vibe with someone, but I feel like what's more important than like, oh, clicking right away and having amazing chemistry right away and like they just know everything I want and we have so much in common and like, oh my god, I feel like what's really important is like, it's like you can like someone, but then it's like, are they willing to like work with you? Like maybe you meet someone, you really fuck with them, but then it's like, oh, they don't text me as much as I would like. But it's like, that could easily be solved. Like you could just say, oh, I want to text more. And if they care about you, like if they're willing to like put in work to make the relationship work because they like you, they want to be with you, then they'll be like, oh yeah, I can adapt to that. And it should be able to go both ways. And that's why communication is like so important, because it's not just like, oh, everything's supposed to like be so perfect and easy right away. Not to say it's supposed to be hard, but it's more about like the willingness to listen and adapt. And what was the other thing? Willing to work on things. And, if they care about your well-being and not so much like, oh my God, it's like fireworks. And I think low-key same with like sex too. Like, a lot of times, it's like if the first time wasn't amazing, it's kind of like, oh, do I really want like that in? But it's more about communication. Like, do they care? Like, are they willing to learn about you and what you like and like your body, more so than just like, oh yeah, just naturally everything's like so perfect and amazing, we didn't even have to like talk about anything. It's kind of like unrealistic. And again, in those first like dating stages of getting to know someone, like, I don't know, I think I've just come to learn more and more that it's not, like, obviously vibes are important, and having things like attraction and like, I don't know, just, feeling like you're interested in someone, that's all important. But it's like a huge, like, oh my God, fireworks, like, that can burn out so easily and quickly, so let me know if you relate. But I just really thought the responses to this were interesting, and we actually did get an update from the girl. Not me picking up my phone, dude. Also, I had this like when I went to set this up, the microphone, I had like, my brain had the thought of, oh, where's my mask? Yeah, for my podcast, let me put my mask on. So the girl, this is like her update. She said, he most of the time never calls me throughout the week, and if he does, it's once a week. I brought it up to him how it hurts me that he doesn't want to communicate, but says I'm always on his mind, but he can't be on his phone during work. He doesn't even have a corporate job or a 9-to-5 job. But even after getting off work, takes hours to respond. She said, breaking up with him and his bitch ass today. Yikes. I don't expect him to be texting me all day as I'm in graduate school, but damn, make me feel that you love me. Actions aren't matching at all with your words. Dude, so it sounds like, maybe she tried to communicate, but he just wasn't really like, I don't know. Because it's like that's hard with like work, because it's like, what if he really can't be on his phone? But it's like, okay, so you don't have a lunch break? You don't have your little break? Like, you can't just like send a quick text? And there was a whole section about that in this book, but I couldn't find it. And then I was looking in the index for like texting. But there was like something about how it was like a similar situation, just in the sense of like, I think the girl wanted to like talk more throughout the day, but the guy, just to like feel like she was more of an anxious attachment. So she wanted like the security, if she gets a text from him throughout the day, like, oh, it's like, oh, he's thinking about me, like the relationship's okay, like, settles the nervous system. But just, he didn't really, I don't even know if he was necessarily avoidant, but he just was like not as wanting to text. But they made it work by like, I think he like set up an automated text, like, I don't know, in the morning he would like pre-write a text and then like set, I don't even know how you could do that, like, now. Like, I don't know, is there an app for that? I don't know. But the point is, like, someone's either willing to work with you on something or they're not. And that's like what's really important. Because if you have an issue, it's like, okay, we're human. Like, we're obviously going to like beef with each other sometimes. Or like, oh, I don't like when you do this. I don't like when you do that. But again, the point and like the strength in the relationship comes from the like, okay, well, let's work together to like solve this, you know? So I would love to hear your thoughts. Personally, for me, I feel like for me, it just really depends on the person, because I've had guys I've talked to who like, you know, when they send like a huge paragraph and it's just every text is like a huge paragraph. It's like that for me just gets really exhausting, because I just, especially when it's just like the talking stage, like, oh, what are you doing right now? Like, I don't know. That can feel a little exhausting. But if it's just like a natural convo, I like that. It's like fun, cute. But then there's also been guys that I text less, but I didn't necessarily feel like, oh, I want to text them more, because it's just like, that was just our vibe. So I don't know. For me, it just really depends on the person. What do I want though is like, because again, it's like, what, you have to ask yourself, like, what do you want? Like, what makes you feel good? I guess I do like the communication, but it's just like, I don't think at this point I would like, I don't know, I haven't like talked to someone who's made me like wait for a text back and like caused me anxiety in a long time, because I'm not like interested in that more like avoid, like, you know, I just remember like in high school, you know, when you'd be like waiting for a text back and you're like, oh my god, like, are they ever gonna text me back? Like, I just don't even deal with that anymore. I'm just like, I don't want that, dude. And also like this, I was thinking about this earlier too, this whole thing of like, and I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know if like a late trend, but it's kind of like been around, but this whole like, oh yeah, simps, like simps are so bad, bro. Like, I get there's like obviously very extreme examples of like, you know, someone who maybe it's like a little overly thirsty, or like, I don't know, whatever. But it's like, y'all don't want people who like you? Like, what? And I just find a lot of peace with that reaction, because it's like, thank God. Like, thank God that I have gotten to the point where, you know, I'm only going to be interested in someone or pursue something with someone, or like invest energy into something that's like mutual. You know, like, I'm not going to chase someone that's unavailable, emotionally unavailable, or like whatever. Bro, I swear I mean, you'd learn a lot in your life, but also this last year of like prefrontal cortex development, it's just like so many things that used to be so stressful. Just, it's like, I don't deal with that anymore. Just like, I'm not going to put myself in that situation. Like, if I'm getting the vibe that a guy is like flaky or like inconsistent or just doesn't really seem to be like taking me seriously or whatever, it's like, I'm not going to take that personally. I'm just going to be like, okay, that's the type of person you are, like, whatever. That's not for me. Like, I don't want to be dealing with that. I don't want to be like, oh, why aren't they texting me back? Like, what? No. And it's like, you kind of learn, or I've learned at least, like, you don't have to take that personally. This book honestly has helped me a lot too. But yeah, like, you don't have to take someone's inconsistency as like necessarily as like a personal rejection, you know? It's just like, okay, like, that's how they communicate. I don't want to be involved with someone who communicates like that. So peace. Again, especially in the early days of dating, because it's not like you want to like, it's not like, oh, like if you went on like one date or like you're kind of in the talking stage with someone, it's not like you can be like, oh, I would appreciate if you, I mean, I guess like you could, I don't know. I mean, I'm all for the communication, but sometimes it's like, you really don't have to invest like so much energy into something that's like not even anything yet, you know? Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts, but yeah, this book is really like life-changing. I should reread it. It's been like a while since I fully read it, but it's just like, you don't have to be dealing with bullshit. Like, you don't. You're gonna have to deal with bullshit in other ways and like communicate and be vulnerable, and it's scary, but at least you're not like, where's my text? You know, it's like, I don't know. So again, let me know your thoughts. And also I say that, like, I don't want to make anyone feel bad, like, or come across as like judgmental or like smug, like, what, I don't deal with that. But it's just like, I don't know, I just feel like I see so many girls, like, and I mean, same back in the day, but like, just go accept like bullshit from guys, or like just put themselves in these exhausting situations, and it's like, you don't have to be doing that. And when we have the tools, when we kind of like know what's going on and we have the tools to like deal with it, I guess, for lack of a better term, it's like, you don't need to be putting all that energy towards something that's like not even, you're not even gaining anything from it. So read this book. Yeah. And even with like anxiety and whatnot. But yeah, like learning about the nervous system and like self-soothing, like self-regulating, everything's so interconnected. We all need to be doing our meditations. Okay. We're back to square one. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on anything we discussed today. I'm honestly exhausted. And Sonia's coming over. I'm so excited. So we're going to have a little laptop club, plan some stuff. I'm so excited. Don't forget to screenshot this. Post on your IG story. Let's post as much as we can on our story every day. Me, at least. That's what I'm going to be doing. So tune in. Love you guys so much. And I will talk to you in the next episode.